Okay, let's take a closer look at these two magazine springs. The one on the right is the stock spring that comes out of the P227 14 round magazine. The one on the left is the Wolf spring that is made for the Para Ordnance 14 round magazine. It's touted as a 10% stronger spring, so extra power. So where does it get that extra power? Well, there's two factors that affect your spring rate. One is the size of the material, in other words the diameter. So if we look at the Sig one, we've got about 49 thousandths of an inch. Some places I measured it was 48 thousandths. And then we compare it to the Wolf spring. Hopefully you can see that. And it's about, oh, I measured it about 52 thousandths. It's showing 51, so 51, 52 thousandths of an inch thick. So right off the bat, because we have a thicker material in the spring wire itself, it's going to be stiffer. The other factor that affects it is the actual total length of wire used within the spring. So if we look at this, we notice that the Sig spring has a lot more coils. I counted them, and it's 15 coils compared to the 12 coils on the Wolf spring. So that in and of itself tells us that there's less wire in the Wolf spring. So it's, you know, if you were to stretch it out straight, the Sig would more than likely have more wire length, and that makes for a softer spring compared to a shorter one. Another factor is the width. These widths are about the same, about 1.25 inches I measured roughly, but this width on the Wolf is narrower than on the Sig. So all in all factors point to, you know, the Sig is going to be a lighter rate of spring than the Wolf. So another factor that will help here, and I'm on the first magazine that I modified, which was this one here, I just put this spring in as is. All I had to do, I had to widen this base a little bit to fit on the mag base here, but basically I put it in as is. What I'm going to do is I am going to try to match the length of the stock one. I'll probably just cut off this little bit and then bend this up and widen it out to fit on the base. So again, I'm effectively shortening the length of that wire, so it'll increase a little bit, not a whole lot, because I'm not going to be shortening it a whole lot. I first kind of learned about this when I was poor and had a dirt bike, and the spring rates a lot of times would not come on the bike that were correct for my weight. And so what you could do is we would lop off about 1 inch of the coil springs in the fork, and then you had to still maintain the same preload, so we'd make spacers about an inch long, and within the dirt bike fork there was enough mechanical clearance that would effectively stiffen the rate, but we still had enough mechanical clearance where we didn't coil bind or cause any mechanical interference in that way. So anyway, so I'm going to shorten that up, widen it out a bit, and actually I've already done it on this one. That's all loaded up. It loaded pretty much like a normal mag. Of course, not with the stock spring. With the stock spring, I could get 15 rounds in here. So that was kind of an alarm bell there. You're supposed to only hold 14, but you could fit 15. So that right there, you could think of the spring as maybe being an issue. Also, it was very easy to load. Whereas this, I'm able to load it all 14 rounds by hand. That's a lot easier with this little guy, of course. So I use that. Anyway, we'll see what happens. This one is the one I've already tested. It's pretty much ran everything through it that I can, and it's just got the spring as is. I just expanded the base some. This one is the one I just modified. I cut the spring, and so we're going to run that probably tomorrow. But I have full confidence it'll be no problem.